Blessings, y'all. It is Eurosopic, also known as Uniformly Randomly in Search of Paradise Clarity. And I am making this video because I wanted to speak about my experience in Menominee, Wisconsin as a part of a Vipsanna retreat that was 10 days from June 29th to July 10th, in which I had no outside communication and I committed to meditation daily, observing my breath and really just being in harmony with all of the sensations. And I definitely would say it is, and it was one of the hardest experiences of my life, but I am very blessed to partake of this technique and understand its benefit. And I think observing instead of reacting is something we all could learn from. It definitely was challenging, though, to just sit in silence and not speak to anyone. We all took a noble silence, and to really isolate myself in this way, but also hear and feel all of the passing sensations truly had me on many revivals, so to speak, and in preparation for so much that's going on in my life and this new journey that I am a part of, and understanding just the importance of observing and really counting within and not being attached to anything. The whole idea of craving. We have these sankharas, which is also known as miseries, and we all have miseries. We all are dealing with the same enemy, and it's important to also understand the way we respond to what's happening is what brings the difference. And this is in line with what I naturally believe as a Nkrumah Tereus and dialectical materialist, someone who understands that, in everything there are positives and negatives, but we have to understand the importance of struggle to get to that point. Having ideological principle struggle is crucial. And amongst this knowledge is also just understanding there is the enemy and then there's the inner me. And I'm writing something about that further. I'm about to compose a new formation of the book, Wait a Minute, Typo or Faith. Wait a minute, typo or faith. But before I go there, I'm going to do something that I should have done a long time ago. And this is going to continue. But without going further into why, I'm going to just show you. So if this has ever happened to you, I'm going to show you how to fix that. How to sew a button. First thing you need to do is you want to have a needle, right? Scripture says it is easier for a camel to enter the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. But in this case, this thread is no camel. This thread is the vein of life. You want to get it nice and slick, passes through like that. That's all you want to do. But the important aspect when you get the thread through is to tie a knot. And the way I like to tie a knot is once you have it even, take your hand, you twist it to make a knot, and you just kind of squeegee it out, and then you take it, pull it. Then you got a solid knot. That knot ain't going nowhere, okay? And then you want to take the button we're going to sew today is the shank button, also known as the one hole button. That's what I like to call it. See, it's like a little bridge. It's probably the easiest type of button to sew, but when I first saw these buttons, I thought it was extremely difficult. So what you would do to this is you get your needle where you want to sew it, already have said it is solid because I gave you a strong knot there. Then you just take the needle and you put it in like that. Drop it down. Just pick a place, preferably closer to where you have it, so that it's not too spacious. Take it in. Bam. But you're not done. So what I like to do is, once you get it through, you want to just go ahead and make a knot. Like you want to go under and just put it somewhere just to get it, established the first time. Now, because I like to make sure it's set down, I'm gonna show you another trick I do. But that's the first one, right? But I like to do it 3 times. 3 feels good to me. Kind of extra, but it's just to ensure the fact that the button ain't gonna go nowhere. So you want to take it again and do the same thing. Put it down, take it up. Now by the 3rd one, here's the trick for me. I like to make a planet. Okay, and what I mean by planet is, I'll take the thread and I'll go up again. But as I go up, I don't put it into the hole like I have been previously. I put it close to the hole, and then this is the planet aspect. I hold the shank button and I'll wrap it. 1, 2, 3. So it's like, it's really there. It's solidly there. You'll see it when it's tied down, and then I'll go through, and then I'll go down, and then to finalize the damn thing, because it's extra, but bam. Then you take your shears and you have your shank button. That's how you sew a 1-hole button. To be continued. Yeah, so I just wanted to take you on that detour because that's what it was like for me to be at the Vipsanna retreat. I would go on to something else, and speaking of sewing, it's like these knots were being sewn, and these knots are the miseries, the sankaras. And we all know what sankaras are. We all have these miseries because, as I mentioned, we have the same enemy, that enemy being capitalism and global violence through imperialism. But we also know that in acknowledging the primary enemy, which is capitalism, there are all those other subtle inner enemies or inner me's, the inner things that contribute to the problem. And if we don't address those contradictions and we let them fly, liberalism, we just like, ooh, and we don't say anything about it, then we're going to continue to perpetuate violence and uphold the status quo. So one has to be aware of their sensations. One has to commit to some struggle for liberation, and also acknowledging that our breath, how we react to things, because things are happening all the time outside of us, but there are the things that are happening inside of us. And if we don't address the inside things, we're going to get knotted and just into a web of misery. I wrote a couple of other notes here that I just want to read so that it's kind of in clear sequence here. This technique helped me purify my mind to remember the breath. The tendencies of S.N. Goenka are divine, and dare I say, revolutionary, radical indeed, as not a single one of us are spared from deep sankaras, but how we react to them makes the difference. And the word that was very much a part of this process is equanimous. Be equanimous, be attentive, have a diligent mind, and be cool and collective. All of these points, taking the noble silence. The schedule of this retreat, just to get into what it was like to be in a place where I had no outside communication. The morning wake up bell was at 4 a.m. and you were to meditate at 4:30 in the hall or in your own living quarters. So just waking up that early and sitting in silence. And by the fourth day, I mean, I'm not obviously saying everything linear, but the first 2 or 3 days, we were just breathing out of our nostrils, really focusing on the triangular area, just in and out, observing our breath going in and out, just through our nostrils with our eyes closed. And of course, if you had spectacles, you took your glasses off and you know, so that nothing was a distraction, your eyes closed, and you are observing the breath out of your nostrils. So then by the fourth day, that's when we were to sit in a posture and to not change that posture and have our hands closed, just really observe the sensations. And you were getting sensations because you're sitting down for a certain way. I mean, it's like you're getting prickling, you're getting pains, you're getting strains, you're getting sensations, vibrations. But all of those things were to just be observed because they rise and pass away. It's the law of impermanence, which is, again, a universal law. Things rise and pass away. And so understanding that things come and go, you don't attach yourself to it. And so even in this journey of mine, I've been practicing non-attachment. Nothing is mine. This idea of I, what is mine, and it's obviously very toxic because it's individualistic. It's like, this is mine, this belongs to me. And it doesn't acknowledge the sequence. It doesn't acknowledge, as I always talk about, the ancestors. The ancestors have laid the foundation. Someone has put the work. Someone has put in the work, and we are to continue that work and acknowledge those that have done that work, because it's not about you. It's about all of us and all of those that have done something. And so just not being attached to this I, and understanding that we belong to a family, and that family needs to be taken care of, that family needs to be cultivated. So anyway, you would have the morning meditation at 4:30 to 6:30. That's when breakfast started. Breakfast was very simple: oatmeal. And, they had all kind of nuts and granola. Very healthy vegetarian meals. I'm still not and have not gone back to meat since then. This was the first time I can remember I've abstained from meat for so long. And I'm just planning to continue that for right now because it's, I'm okay with just eating non-living things. The idea of a living thing also, I wrote and released a project in 2017 called The Living Things, which is here on YouTube if you want to watch it. And it was one of my first projects where I wanted to break down the importance of all of the living things and how we're part of this process of life, and how life is special and tender, and it must be taken with serious pace and grace, because life can be taken away from us. Life in a system of oppression is threatened every day. And if we don't guard ourselves against these real enemies and enemies, these contradictions exist. If we don't recall them and acknowledge them, we will, fall prey to destruction. So we have to be aware of our power. We have to want power. We have to know where power comes from. And I know I'm going up many places. I was just thinking about the blessings and the knowledge of being awakened to one's own sensation. But again, after the breakfast, you had meditation. And there were basically 4 group meditation sessions where you had to be with the group in the hall. And they were an hour long. It never felt like an hour for me, though. And I was talking to a friend of mine who actually is the one who told me the name Vipsanna. Shout out to my homie James, because he literally was the one that gave me the name. But anyway, he was like, yeah, well, when you're with others, you're all on one accord, and time kind of just becomes another thing. And it's like, yeah, that's absolutely what it is. And it's also just, even when I meditate alone now, and I realize an hour is not really a long time to really just sit in silence and get to that point of realizing and observing. It's just really observing and not reacting. So to just be with the brothers that I was with, I mean, it was really dope because we were all on one accord, and we were obviously there to get these sensations into, we didn't know what it was going to be about, and we easily found that out. And so, yeah, the experience in itself was really wonderful. Challenging because it reminds me of many inward things going on, but the things that are going on the outside too. So we have a responsibility, we have a role to play in this whole process, and I'm happy to be a part of it, and I'm happy to now continue where I'm about to do now. And I'm packing my things from Minnesota, leaving this state. Finally, I say finally because I've been trying to leave Minnesota for a while, but the way I'm going about this next project, Wait a Minute, Type of Faith, and how I'm connecting myself back to where I was born in New Orleans and then in Texas, just really gathering information to release it. It's going to be an audiobook. You know, I've been all over the place, and that's the whole randomly. You know, Paradise Clarity is a search, and I've climbed many ladders, still climbing ladders, and will continually. I just wanted to make this video updating you all of what it's been like for me. Changes are on the horizon. Blessings are abundant, and the struggle continues. And there's a lot filled with many ways of getting through. There are bicycles, there are cars, there are boats. It's a lot. It's a huge, it's a huge container space where you can drive your vehicle or pedal your way or, you know, sail your way through. Anyways, blessings, y'all. I'm not going to continue in this video. I'll make more videos. I am planning to make more videos. I'm planning to, clearly, there's a series here now, How to Sew a Button. I'm going to just do that, and we're going to take it many different ways. But thank you for watching. If you've stayed so far, blessings, y'all. Thank you for watching. Uniformly, randomly, in search of paradise clarity.